In the middle of autumn 2021, a young family moved into a small house on the outskirts of a village near Tver. Dmitry and Anastasia dreamed of a quiet life away from the hustle and bustle of the city, where their son Sasha could grow up comfortably. The house, though old, looked sturdy. The plot was spacious, with a large garden that had clearly been well kept in the past. They bought it at a very reasonable price, which surprised them, but the realtor simply said that the owners were eager to move abroad quickly. The family was happy. The house greeted them with warm light. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, the smell of fresh wood mixed with the scent of autumn leaves. The first few days were busy, unpacking belongings, tidying up the garden, and clearing out small piles of trash left by the previous owners. In the attic, they found old furniture and several boxes filled with documents and photographs. One of the finds was a small leather-bound notebook. It contained notes from the previous owner. Most of the entries were about the garden, recipes, and household matters. However, toward the end of the diary, several pages were filled with strange words. Night, creek. They are watching. Probably some kind of joke or nonsense, Dmitry said, flipping through the pages. But Anastasia felt a little uneasy. A week after moving in, strange things began to happen. At first, it was minor. The creaking of floorboards in empty rooms, the occasional feeling of being watched. One night, Dmitry woke up to a strange sound, as if someone was scratching the wall outside. He went outside, but found nothing. Only the cold autumn wind stirred the bare tree branches. A few days later, as Anastasia was gathering toys in their son's room, she noticed that one of them, an old wooden horse, had ended up in the corner, even though she was sure she had put it in the cupboard. She decided she must have been mistaken, but it kept happening over and over again. Sasha began acting strangely. Usually cheerful and outgoing, he became withdrawn. One evening, as Anastasia was tucking him into bed, he said, "Mom, why do you come into my room at night?" Anastasia froze. And he cognitively, "No, you came in, you stood by my bed and watched me." These words made her heart race, but she tried not to show her fear. Evasive answers, claiming he had no information about the previous owners. Dmitry then went to the local library, where he managed to find old newspapers. He learned that the house had belonged to the Vorobio family, who had mysteriously disappeared several years ago. The police found no evidence of a crime, but the case remained open. Meanwhile, Anastasia came across a mention of neighbors in the notebook. The entries became increasingly incoherent, and the last one ended with the words, "If you hear footsteps outside the window, don't look." One night, Dmitry woke up to a quiet tapping on the bedroom window. He looked at the clock. 13 a.m. Anastasia was sleeping beside him. The tapping grew louder. Dmitry got up quietly and looked out the window, but there was only darkness outside. In the morning, they found strange marks on the windowsill, as if someone had scratched the wood with sharp claws. The door to the shed, which was usually locked, was wide open, and everything inside had been scattered. Sasha said he saw a lady in his dream. She stood by his window and called him outside. This was the last straw for Anastasia, and she insisted on inviting a local priest. Father Alexei agreed to come. He carefully examined the house and said that the place was indeed restless. He performed a blessing ritual, reciting prayers in every room. During the ritual, Anastasia felt a heavy pressure on her chest, and in one of the rooms, the candle Father Alexei was holding suddenly went out. "Things have happened here that cannot be explained rationally," he said. "I advise you to leave for a while." That night, the family prepared to leave. They locked the house and loaded their belongings into the car. But just as they were ready to go, Sasha suddenly disappeared. Anastasia found that the door to his room was locked from the inside. They could hear soft footsteps as if the boy was walking around the room, but he didn't respond to their calls. Dmitri broke down the door. The room was empty, but the window was open. They ran outside and found Sasha near the edge of the forest. He was standing barefoot in the cold grass, staring at one spot and softly saying, "She says we won't leave." They left that night. The house was abandoned, and it was soon put up for sale again. The family never returned.
Did you?
A month later, Anastasia received a strange letter. It contained only one sentence: "We will meet again."